So picture the scene. The atmosphere is electric, but the mood is strategic.
Right, this is not a public concert.
Not at all. This is a high-stakes, super exclusive private party at Mar-a-Lago, which is probably one of the most politically charged venues in America.
And the audience is a collection of billionaires, top political figures, and major donors.
The music is supposed to be, just background noise for power networking.
Until country music superstar Keith Urban takes the stage for an acoustic set. He's performing for this billionaire, Anthony Pratt, who had just pledged $5 billion to American manufacturing.
The optics are already huge. But then Urban plays a cover that just stopped Hollywood cold.
Chappell Roan's viral, fiercely queer anthem, Pink Pony Club.
And in that one moment, it feels like the entire political, cultural, and moral landscape of the country just crashes together.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. We take a stack of sources, articles, research, and expert notes, and we pull out the most important nuggets of knowledge.
We cut through all the noise so you can be instantly well-informed with, just enough surprising facts to keep you hooked.
And today, we're diving deep into Keith Urban's viral performance of Pink Pony Club and why this one song choice, for this audience, caused a massive explosion across celebrity, political, and even religious media.
Yeah, it really defined a major cultural collision.
Okay, let's just try to unpack this chaotic scene. The headline alone is just a masterpiece of cultural dissonance.
It really is. Keith Urban covers a gay bar anthem for Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago.
It's the ultimate juxtaposition.
Totally. A video of the performance, which was originally posted by a guest, showed Urban performing in front of this, giant screen with an American flag graphic.
Of course.
The Advocate reported that the choice immediately raised eyebrows all across the entertainment industry.
I mean, my first reaction was just pure disbelief.
Why?
Why this song? Urban, a major country star. And yeah, we should probably note Nicole Kidman's former husband, their separation was just filed.
He's performing a song that is, widely recognized as an anthem of queer liberation for a crowd that politically is often on the other side of that.
And this is where it gets really interesting because the song choice just transforms a simple private gig into a political statement.
Instantly.
We saw immediate reaction online. I think one user at a Girl Has No President captured the confusion perfectly. She just asked, was that song choice ironic?
Right. That's the question everyone was asking. It feels like the least likely track in his entire catalog to pick for a major conservative policy event.
Think about the messaging. Urban is on that stage because of a $5 billion commitment to American industry, which signals, alignment with a powerful conservative base.
And then he plays a song whose entire message is about leaving traditional small-town America to go find your identity in a West Hollywood gay bar. The tension is just, you can feel it.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it just shows that celebrity neutrality is, it's pretty much extinct now.
Oh, absolutely.
The location itself, a Trump-owned resort, puts any artistic decision under a cultural microscope. For a lot of critics on the left, just being there is seen as complicity.
But for others, the song choice felt like maybe a subtle act of rebellion or just a massive, massive error in judgment.
Right.
But no matter what the motivation was, it became an accidental flashpoint. Because to really understand the depth of this firestorm, you have to understand the song itself.
Exactly. This isn't just some fun pop tune. It's a manifesto.
The song is hailed as an anthem of self-acceptance, so how could a powerful Catholic organization later call it a glorification of sin? That incredible contradiction is what we're diving into next.
And if you're finding these deep cultural dives fascinating, make sure you're subscribed to the Deep Dive. We have even crazier stories ahead that really redefine how we look at celebrity actions and their consequences.
Yeah.
So let's break down the essential DNA of Pink Pony Club. It is an official, recognized gay anthem, and its power really lies in its narrative clarity.
Yeah, it's basically a love letter to chosen family and queer joy. It's this triumphant pop song that just soared up the charts, hitting number 26 on the Billboard Hot 100 in 2024.
And it tells the story of a girl who leaves her hometown, you assume it's a small conservative place, and moves to Los Angeles,
where she discovers the Pink Pony Club.
The song works so well because of that contrast. The lyrics talk about her mother back in Tennessee, praying for her daughter's soul where she's gone astray.
Meanwhile, the daughter is in LA, finally feeling free and beautiful and just embraced by a community that accepts her for who she is.
That whole concept of escape is so foundational to the queer experience in pop culture.
For sure. For people who feel isolated or rejected at home, that journey to a city or a community where you find belonging It's not just a move, it's an act of, like, necessary self-preservation.
And Roan just captures that moment of arrival perfectly, that moment of finally being able to breathe freely.
And that feeling is based on a real moment for her.
Yeah,
Right.
it is. After she moved from Missouri to L.A. back in 2018, she visited the iconic West Hollywood gay bar, the Abbey. She said the experience was just overwhelming, filled with complete love and acceptance.
Wow.
She realized, and this is her words, that she could truly be any way she wanted to be.
So the song is directly inspired by her watching the go-go dancers there and just thinking how incredible it would be to have that level of self-expression.
Exactly. That freedom is the core engine of the track. And its cultural weight is just, it's huge.
Well, it became ubiquitous. After it was re-released, you heard it everywhere.
Roan performed it at the 2025 Grammys, right after winning Best New Artist. Major artists like Casey Musgraves and Orville Peck have covered it. It's universally understood by its fans as a celebration.
A celebration of authentic identity and community.
Right.
So we have this acoustic cover, this very specific political setting, and a song carrying all this emotional weight.
And now we introduce the final, most intellectual element of the collision, the highly structured moral opposition that rejects the song's entire premise.
And this is where the story shifts from, celebrity gossip and political optics to philosophy and theology.
Yeah, we're moving to the formal Catholic critique, which basically turns Keith Urban's gig into a spiritual battlefield.
And we have to be really clear here.
We do. We are impartially reporting the arguments that are presented in this formal critique, which was published by the Catholic organization Corpus Christi for Unity and Peace, or CUP. It's titled The Illusion of Liberation, Pink Pony Club.
And what they do is frame the song as a case study in modern moral failure.
What immediately jumps out to me is that the critique doesn't actually deny the desire for belonging or joy that Roan sings about.
Right. Instead, they argue that the song fundamentally misdirects that natural human desire.
Precisely. Their first main point is that the song mistakes license for true liberty. They start with the fundamental teaching that humans have a natural desire for God, and they reference the Catechism.
Okay, wait, can we pause right there? When you mention the Catechism, or CCC, for listeners who aren't familiar with that text, what's the core idea of that passage you're referencing?
Absolutely. So the Catechism of the Catholic Church, or CCC, outlines the fundamentals of the faith. Section 27 basically says the desire for God is written in the human heart, that you're created restless until you rest in God.
Okay.
The CUP critique uses this to argue that the strip club, the Big Pony Club, becomes a destination that kind of parodies worship. It's a substitute for the spiritual fulfillment they believe humans are really seeking.
That's a fascinating deep dive into the source. So they're essentially making an Augustinian argument that sin comes from loving a created thing instead of the creator.
Exactly. The song is seen as worshiping self-expression instead of the divine. And this leads right into their second critique, which focuses on family and home.
Which is a huge part of the song's narrative.
A huge part. The song celebrates leaving her worried mother and her small town. The CUP article argues that abandoning familial bonds, what the church calls the domestic church, to pursue what they term disordered desires, isn't liberation, it's profound alienation.
And that is a direct contrast to the queer narrative of finding a chosen family as an act of survival.
A total inversion of it. The critique views the biological family as divinely established and essential.
What sources are they citing to back up that idea of freedom leading to self-destruction?
They connect it to both scripture and papal teaching. They cite the biblical verse, "You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free," implying that without objective moral truth, freedom is meaningless.
Okay.
They also reference Pope John Paul II's encyclical, Veritatis Splendor, noting that freedom, when it's separated from moral truth, can devolve into the freedom of self-destruction.
That just raises such a huge question for our society. How can two passionate groups view the exact same act, leaving your small town, as either radical freedom or spiritual self-destruction? The definitions of truth here are just irreconcilable.
That tension is the reason the Keith Urban cover went nuclear. And the third critique addresses the commodification of the person.
What do they mean by that?
The CUP critique argues that expressing your identity through exhibitionism and sexualized performance violates the dignity of the human person.
And by dignity, they're talking about the concept of imago Dei.
Yes, exactly. They reference CCCC 1700, which defines the human being as created in the image of God. The argument is that reducing the body, the image of God, to an instrument of performance fundamentally violates that dignity.
The language here is so key. One side says authenticity, the other says vice.
And the CUP article places the song's popularity within a broader social crisis. They argue its success reflects the dictatorship of relativism, a term from Pope Benedict XVI.
Meaning that objective moral truth is replaced by subjective experience.
Right, so in the Pink Pony Club narrative, vice gets celebrated as authenticity. They close this argument by citing the prophet Isaiah. Woe to those who call evil good and good evil.
So let's bring it all back to that acoustic set at Mar-a-Lago. Keith Urban performed a song that celebrates finding community and joy, a joy rooted in physical self-expression, for an audience whose philosophical and political base rejects that entire narrative as a distortion of human freedom.
That one performance was the perfect accidental proxy war for the deep ideological chasm running through the U.S. today. It forces us, and you, the listener, to confront how impossible it is for art to exist in a vacuum.
Yeah, a 3-minute pop song suddenly becomes the lightning rod for global disagreements over morality, freedom, and the purpose of human desire. So to summarize, one acoustic cover by Keith Urban at a high-profile political party perfectly captured the deep and what seems to be, irreconcilable conflicts playing out across American culture right now.
The song functions as this powerful symbol, a love letter to self-discovery and chosen family for one group.
And an illusion of liberation, a corruption of virtue for the other.
And these two fiercely opposing viewpoints were just brought crashing together in a single, bizarre private performance.
And maybe the true disaster here isn't Keith Urban's choice, or even the politics of the venue. Maybe it's the fact that a song about finding community is seen by millions as either a joyous, necessary act of self-discovery, or a lamentable path to self-destruction.
The question for you is, where do you draw the line between liberation and license?
You've been listening to The Deep Dive, where we uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture.
Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.